Welcome everybody to the Kaleidoscope Seven Deadly Sins Jury Roundtable. I'm here with a majority of the passengers here. A couple will be in attendance later on. Look at that. Literally, just as I'm saying that, someone was in the waiting room, just admitted someone in. Seven out of the nine of you, expecting at the minimum to be eight. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy evenings to be here. You decided to sign up for Kaleidoscope and give us as much of your undivided attention as possible, and we are forever thankful for you choosing Kaleidoscope and to undergo this journey with us here on this lovely train ride. We have Caleb and Ketty as our finalists, still on the train, heading all the way to Grand Central, where we'll be having our final station, where the seven of you, as will the two who are not currently in attendance right now, will have the responsibility of crowning the sole survivor, the winner of season seven of Kaleidoscope. I am one of your many hosts, Jacob Adorno, as you guys are know, and I love bragging about this. So this is another excuse to do that. I had been in front of a jury, much like you guys I have in this series, and I was able to come out on top. So I know that the final tribal council is a very pivotal, very important decision. Nothing is set or in stone, but we're not alone here, as I'm here with some of my cohorts from my beautiful, lovely prod team. The budget raised this season, so not only did we bump up the prize money for the winner, but we also got a celebrity here to host and facilitate this jury roundtable here. Before we were branded as Kaleidoscope, we used to be called Inferno instead. She was the OG Potts. We've had Topher, Corey, the brothers on prod, and we've had Jen here. But finally, we have Jess, season one player of the season here. I'm going to pass over the mic to her. She's going to get this started and lead this conversation. Primarily, you guys will be the ones doing most of the talking, gauging the final two's game, what you need to hear from them at FTC, where you're going to be leaning your gripes or whatever words of praise you have for them. And Jess, by all means, take it away.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. I feel very honored to be hosting your roundtable. I feel like you guys are going to be doing most of it, though. I'm going to be sitting here smoking my blunt and listening and learning about your season. I want to hear the tea. I want to hear the drama. I want to hear why you want someone to win. I want to hear why someone you think should not fucking win. I want to know if you stand someone. I want to know if you hate someone. I want to know all of it. Um, so it's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to go in a certain order, if it's totally your call. Sometimes people do it by like the three pillars kind of thing, or if you just want to go by strengths and weaknesses of each person, but that's totally up to you. So take it away.
Hey y'all. I feel like this is maybe the easiest way. Maybe we can go by like because we're all gonna eventually get a chance one-on-one to address them, but we can kind of do it here where we can address their gameplay like in the three categories, I guess, like social, strategic, and physical, outwit, outlast, outplay. And I feel like if we want to start off with like maybe their physical and social, and then we can end with the strategic, because I feel like that's an overall contributing factor. I mean, at least for my vote at the end of the day, because I feel like their games can be somewhat socially comparable, but then the strategic side comes into play where it's like Kenny didn't have to win any challenge. Anyways, but yeah, I guess if we want to start off with um maybe social. Social. But yeah. And how do we feel socially about Caleb's game?
I'd be interested to speak on that first. It
I'm
doesn't even
sorry, but no,
no,
that's how I feel about it.
yeah.
To me, I don't think that Caleb would have got there without the social games of everyone else who is sitting there, at least after me.
Mm.
Like, I look at each one of y'all's social games, and Caleb didn't do anything. And
Yeah.
my respect for Caleb came from the fact that I respected Ketty, if that makes
Hmm.
any sense. So that's how I look at the two of them as like socially, Ketty could do something wrong to you and you probably wouldn't care. Caleb, would you even care if he even did anything? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like I have one of the most unique perspectives on Caleb's at least social. attempts at this game. When I gave Caleb the voice memos thing during that challenge, that's when Caleb initiated the cross tribal alliance with me and Ketty, and that's where information started flowing. That's how I was able to pick up who I wanted to get good vibes with going into the merge. And that's where the voting kind of blocks was easily like sensed. Like Caleb was just giving that away. And it was, I mean, to say it was to his social benefit more so than it was to me and Ketty's was kind of bad because Caleb was secure. Caleb had Sheena and Taylor. Like they loved him. Caleb didn't have to badmouth these people and make them distrust them because that's was ultimately the downfall of Caleb's game, the amount of distrust that Caleb was putting into people when they had these decent social bonds and connections to stand with. You could have the same conversation with Ketty and Caleb and you would feel better about it. Oh, you would feel better about it with Ketty afterwards than Caleb. Just the way on Ketty made you feel in conversations. In the voice of Ketty, I'm gonna be completely honest. That's how we all felt at the end of Ketty's calls. Whereas sometimes we could leave Caleb's calls feeling like, I don't know where I was before with Caleb, but now I don't even know where I am with after. So that's how I kind of felt with some of my social conversations.
Noah, you getting that chat and getting all that information is a testament to your social game, not his, right? You're the one who decided to save him. Like, he wouldn't have created a chat with you if you hadn't done that. And he even was saying to us when that happened, he's like, oh, like Noah saved me. That was so nice.
Yeah, and it's like this was public knowledge too. Like it wasn't being hidden from people too, but it was still being it was more a detriment to Caleb's game than it was to my game, and I capitalized off that. Also, not to give them not the like they didn't wouldn't have gotten that idol without me. Without me winning those last challenges and deciphering those clue banks, I was able to get Ketty the idol. And Ketty and I had conversations about this idol, what we were going to do with it for 2 hours. I was confident that Ketty was one of these people that was going to get the end game votes because if I got to the stages with Ketty where I got to work with them, my goal was wanting to have the conductor vote be someone who trusted me. So even before the merge, I was voting Ketty to get the conductor vote. And I feel like that's a testament of how smart, like, I was trying to play ahead of the game because Ketty, there was no way Ketty was voting me out. And I was like, Ketty, if you don't get it, Caleb can be safe. If you want to get, because I was just trusting in that. And that's why Caleb got the idol because I don't know if Sheena and Taylor would have sniped Caleb out at that opportunity if given the chances, but I feel like it could have been plausible. I don't know if you guys would have gone for Ketty or anyone if y'all got the conductor vote, but like him being safe there was also just a testament to Ketty's social strategic game, not Caleb's.
He would have been.
I was gonna say I would have taken Ketty out had I gotten the conductor vote because he saved Caleb. Like, why this far into the game would you take that big of a risk and then just like hope and pray that it doesn't come back to bite you in the
And
ass?
Caleb had the opportunity to get agency back in this game and take Ketty out after Ketty saved him. Like, I was like, the perspective of the jury will shift if you take that move to get Ketty out. They may think you are bringing me to the end, but that's because they have an easier shot. That you would have a better shot against me, not because it's just
I was trying to get him to do that before.
Yeah.
I got on the phone with him before I got voted out. I was like, hey, we have the chance to do something really awesome. And if we can just agree on getting Ketty out, then we can open the game wide open for all of us. But he was like, no, I don't want to. Then I'll get rocked out and whatever. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just trying to do something because I have nothing else to do. And then
Caleb,
you know that if you
Caleb
know if you don't
know
get Ketty out right now, then you're next, unless you win.
He didn't even know fire existed. So like if it tied, it went to fire. It wouldn't have gone to rocks. Like, and Ketty was like fully playing onto that too. Like Ketty and I were like,
so it's fucking amateur hour here because he was telling me about rocks, rock this, rock that. Okay, well, dude, I don't know. I'm just trying to save my ass, and you're over here talking about rocks.
And Ketty and I were just like, yeah, we can't go to rocks.
But for me, I feel like Ketty was playing offense while Caleb was playing defense. Like, I don't think he ever, at any point in this game, like, did anything strategically that, like, one, wasn't already being clocked, or two, like, did something in the game. I mean, I could be wrong, but I I told Taylor and Austin from jump that there was something about Caleb that I was always sus about. But because I'm loyal to a fault, Caleb, just didn't end up being. I also just didn't feel like he was a threat in this game, and I knew like he could be somebody that any of us could like have easily beaten.
He also just like the way he treat like me and him were really tight at the beginning. And I brought him into the relationship with Sheena and like during merge, he just kind of dropped the ball completely. Like I would have taken him to the end because like Sheena said, like I don't think he was a huge threat. But when he did things like right at the beginning of Merge, like he threw me and Sheena under the bus and then didn't go about his lies in a smart way. Like it was so obvious that he had lied about, like he was like, oh, I didn't tell people that you guys like were really tight. And I was like, people are literally telling me like verbatim that like me and Sheena led the search about where's
Wait,
that?
Taylor,
Like
should
me
we
and Taylor are having
Taylor, should we tell
conversations.
them? Taylor, should we tell them?
Yeah, we knew each other and Austin.
I knew it. I knew it. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
But when
y'all.
Caleb was like, they're a duo, I was like, you don't know to what extent. So in our Taylor and I played in our last org together. We were part of like a really strong alliance. Taylor went in four, I made it to final three. And
Yeah, y'all
she's been
did.
my ride or die, like my best friend, like in this game, I would have like fallen on the sword for her.
Aww.
So
And
yeah.
I love that about y'all. And it's just like I had no like I assumed Caleb and Cuddy knew each other to some degree, but I didn't really. Anyways, wow, good job, y'all. That's why y'all were so damn fucking threatening, I must say. Uh, and also, it's just like when Caleb was like what Taylor was saying, trying to cover up those lies. Like when Taylor and I were talking at the merge, like our level of trust was so fucking high. We were firing just like information like that and being like, "Hey, up here's the table." I'm like, by the way, this is what I'm like, I'm in an opportunity where I have nothing to lose. Caleb already made that connection with me and Caddy. So it's like if he has to get himself it's like not my fault for telling people the information that he's saying about them. I'm just being honest. So it all looped around. Whereas if information looped around Caddy, it's like, well, Caddy has sources and Caddy wasn't not being shady about it in a way. It's like if I confronted Caddy about saying something, Caddy would tell me, and then it would be like, if Caleb did, it'd be like,
Yeah, with Caleb, like he lied about like almost everything, and he was not good about being shady either. Um, like with our group, like I remember that it was me, Taylor, Sheena, um, Caleb, Tyler. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Either way, he just like wouldn't say anything, and then eventually I found out that he was giving the information to everybody else. But then, like, I don't know. I just feel like he was not very good at lying about it either when
It
confronted.
wasn't because like when we confronted him about like the duo thing with me and Taylor, he was like, I can't believe they twisted my words. And it's like, Caleb, honey,
No, because he
This
totally
is
said
very
that.
specific.
sweetie.
oh, he was mad. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're coming for me. And
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
then
What do you
well,
expect?
but it's so funny because we weren't even aggressively like we weren't even coming for him. We were like, yeah, it's kind of weird that like he keeps saying like he doesn't have time for us, and then he keeps saying that like he's playing catch up, and he feel like he doesn't have any conversations with anyone. It's like you don't need to say that. It's unnecessary to say that because it's just creating more lies that are very obvious to lots of people.
Hmm.
And then to be number one, we were like, okay, yeah, that's something we need to look at, but we never like made that a thing to target him because we still didn't think that he was a threat in that way, which was just very interesting.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting for me is I don't want to waste breath talking about how bad Caleb was. I'll be honest and transparent with you all. So I'm going to use my breath to talk about the strength of Keddy's social game of
yeah.
running a play, navigating two jobs, and still maintaining a connection with every single one of us. That to me, despite me having personal feelings about some of the things Ketty has said to me, I will not discredit them for navigating the way socially the way they did.
And
Come
I'm
on,
totally with Tyler on that.
come on, non-Bitterger. Let's go, Tyler. Let's go, growth.
Kenny and I will have a conversation after the game is over about my feelings that I have with them about some of the things they said to me.
No,
And
yeah.
also, I will not discredit their game for that.
But yeah,
Whatsoever.
that was a great
I just
gateway into
want to
Ketty.
piggyback off that because Hetty and I did not even get on a call until
Oh, it was so
like,
long, Cheetah.
but he was in my DMs every single day. Hey girl, I just wanted to say, like playing that social game. And I told him, I said, if you go to final two, you have my vote, like bar none. Like his social game was absolutely impeccable. He made sure that you were gonna know that he was still in this game regardless. And I appreciated that a lot. So
Let's be real for a minute. Does anybody have anything bad to say about Kenny's social game? I think that right there speaks volumes about his social
I
game.
will
He
say
was really
that,
good
like,
at dodging
to
questions.
yeah, like to
But
what
they were
Sheena
very good at
said,
dodging
I did
questions, sorry.
not talk to Ketty at all, like the entire game. Like I
I
talked
was
to a lot to Ketty in like maybe one or two alliances, but
I
that
was like,
is
Aaliyah,
it.
Ketty is mother. Ketty loves us. And Aaliyah's like, okay, work.
I was like, whatever. I was like, I really only need Ketty's vote for one of the votes that I was doing. So I was like, I'll work it now. But after that, we had no communication. And I didn't have any with Caleb at all because I kept getting the same as y'all. Like, I'm busy, I'm busy. Well, then how are you talking
Yeah.
to everybody else? I'm confused. How are you getting this information? I'm confused. So I wrote them both off low-key a while ago. I'm very much in like the Ketty boat for strategy because I have literally nothing else to go off of for either of them.
Yeah. Ketty had a really good social game. Um, I don't know if anyone heard, but like the one thing that I will say is like, and this isn't on Ketty's part, maybe more so on Caleb. When Caleb won the final immunity, like they said, let's get into call, and Ketty and Caleb were just waiting in a call already together. And it was like they were about to tell me about my funeral already and then try to give me this whole I'm like, oh, Ketty, you don't have to be here for this. Like, why anyways? But yeah, that didn't even bother me that much. I think Ketty had a really phenomenal social game, all things considered. I think Sheena explained it perfectly. Ketty played offensively, socially. They weren't stopping trying to make connections, even though people weren't getting on calls with them. They were still reaching out. They were still talking to people despite having multiple differences with multiple people in the game. And still trying to navigate that, and people were still somewhat receptive to that to a certain extent at the end of the day, which I think is a testament to Ketty's social prowess, and it definitely weighs more on the scales.
Ketty had a good conversation with me right after or right before the live night. Ketty had me believing that I had said X, Y, and Z about Laura, that I was like, that never came out of my mouth. And I am confused as to how I now believe that I said something inadvertently about Laura that would never ever come out.
What are we talking about?
Ketty and I was high on a call. Ketty had a few pink Whitney shooters, and we were like, "Ugh, I wonder how we can spin this around. How can we get these people to make sure they're paranoid? How does Tyler play their theoretical idol at live night, if they even have it? Because I was like, it's Tyler or Austin. I think Austin maybe would have told me, but maybe not. But then Tyler, it was just too obvious. And then when you play that idol, it was like the confirmation, like the vote splitting, the votes, everything. It came into her fruition. Ketty played his part, got the information from Caleb. I rallied up my troops, my girls. We all were like, we have no other shot. We are in the minority. We got to fucking tie this vote or else we're all getting sniped off one by one.
Very much
And
happened anyway.
it happened anyways. The Rogs hate women, I will say.
Literally got
But
stoned. It's fine.
you were already stoned this whole entire game on me. It's okay.
Read me.
Rocks just hate me in general.
So the first thing about that idol, every single one of you gave me your clues. Every single one of you. I had every single clue marked off. I waited an hour after Aaliyah gave me her clue because I was like, Aaliyah just like fed me the last bit of information I needed.
Mm.
And I was like, let me just sit on this and
Well,
be happy for like 1 hour. So I submit. So Aaliyah forgets she gave me her clue.
I
And then
did.
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
scrambles and wonders what the hell happened and who
Yeah.
got this idol.
This is
And I
why I should not do drugs on call.
It happens, mama.
Kind of same with me too. The reason I even got the immunity idol right before merge was because almost everybody gave me their clues and then told me what other people gave them. So it was not a shot in the dark. I did lie about that.
Nope.
You're
I
welcome,
came in
Kaden.
immediately. I
I
said,
know.
just take a guess, and it was
Thanks.
wrong. So here you go.
Yeah, Tyler and I were on a call right before I called with Danny and Ketty. And Tyler and I submitted before we even got on call with Danny and Ketty because I wanted to make sure that I got the idol like 100% because I was sure that they were coming for me. Funny, funny.
But yeah, so right before the live night, right before we did the challenge for the ping pong, Ketty gets on a call with me and basically says, I cannot believe you shit talked Laura like this. I cannot believe that you were trying to get Laura out. Like, that is the reason here, here, and here. And I said, what did I say? I adore Laura. I would never talk shit about
What
Laura.
did Kenny say that you said?
Ketty basically told me that I had gunned for you, like I had voted for you out of like a personal vendetta. Like I didn't like you as a person. I thought you were a terrible game player. And Ketty's telling me like I heard all of this from everyone that you had said all these things. And I said, why do I believe you? And why would I never say those things? Like, that's just another layer to Ketty's social game. Is every time they said something, I was like, this is like God's given truth. Even if it was me about me saying something that I know that I would not say. I was like, why do I believe you so much? Like, what is this like? I was like, I can't believe I'm gaslighting myself into thinking I didn't say these things when you have all of these things that say I did. I said, oh,
Can we talk about the live for a sec? I just have a question because I haven't been following the last like couple rounds. Was all the stuff that you guys said in that live tribal about Tyler not true?
Oh no, everything I said about Tyler to you, Taylor, was true. Like Tyler was trying to create that alliance with me and Kaden, and me and Aaliyah, that was definitely talked
Pause,
about.
Noah. You brought that up.
time
Don't blame
out.
that on
Yeah, I
Tyler.
did not
Okay,
go to create
wait,
that.
Noah, you came to the
wait,
both
No,
of us
I
and
didn't
said,
bring
let's
that
make
up.
this
No,
group.
no.
wait, I don't
Yeah,
care
We can
about
just
side
see it.
alliances. I had 600. I don't care about that.
No, what was the
No, I
what
know.
was
I just wanted to get the
Speaking of
facts straight. That's
information that
all.
I wanted, yeah, I don't care about side alliances. Everyone has 100. Like that's the game.
what are you needing
I just want
clarity
to know because
on?
everyone was saying Tyler was like leaking information from all of our chats.
From what I was told, Tyler was leaking information and Tyler was telling information. Like the information I was getting about like votes may have came later, but it definitely
Caleb.
yeah, I was with Caleb the entire time. Like we knew everything. Like and
Yeah.
then we knew the navigations. And then like all your one-on-ones, like that's why it's like I didn't know to fully believe like when we were with you and Danny in that group or you and Aaliyah in that group, because it's like everyone's trying to get us somewhat into like every like so it's like and it was a good strategy, but it was like I'm just seeing through it because Caleb's telling me like and that could be Caleb's strategy, but I don't know if it like because I feel like y'all are genuinely loyal to the soil people. So when you have your people and you're trying to work that, y'all are gonna try to work that. So and Caleb wasn't loyal to that. Um
And we knew
and
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
we just
like,
didn't find him as a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
no, yeah. But everything that was said, and we can go back, I can go like if we want to redo that live night, because but like yeah, that was genuine because like I was still having
wait,
to
Tyler,
lie.
were you leaking information?
the only thing I shared was after the four of us called and you all said, can we try and get Laura to help vote with us so that it's not a tie?
Yeah.
And I told Laura and Ketty in a chat, I'm hearing Danny. You should vote Danny. I
You also
didn't
told me,
say there's a
Danny.
majority alliance voting Danny. I didn't say but I messaged Laura and Ketty because I had a chat with both of them because I also figured that if I told Laura separately, Laura would probably tell Ketty. So I just messaged both and said, hey.
And
Yeah.
so when everyone compared notes, I'm like, where's everyone getting the names from of the actual target? It all traced back to Tyler. Caleb. Tyler. Okay, let's move on to
Does anybody have would you guys say this is accurate? That we're happy
Very.
with Teddy?
Yeah.
That's so cute,
and
Jess. I love
Caleb. Before we move on, I just want to pose a question because somebody brought it up earlier about, I think it was you, Laura, about how does anybody have anything bad to say about Keddy's game? Is there anything bad that you could say about Keddy's game, or on the contrary, good about Caleb's before we move on to the next category?
that was such a satisfying little because the possibility.
I would say
I'm
that Ketty didn't really win anything. Like they did the temptation challenge, they did maybe one other one, but they threw a lot of comps. So
How do you know?
because when I looked at the results, they were last place in each and every one of them.
How do you know
You
they
could
were
just
good?
be bad.
How do
You
know
could just
they
be
were
bad.
I'm
Except
not
for the
gonna
Like that's what I'm
lie.
saying. Like
I'm not gonna
I don't doubt that
lie.
they were throwing, but I'm like, well, they could just be bad.
Ketty didn't
Well,
win
they
a
would
lot of
just send in
comps in
like pre-votes
CTC.
or pre-games before like live ones with us. So like, for example, like the give and take, they just sent in three. They sent in three right at the beginning and then got immediately eliminated, like that kind of thing.
They also had the sin immunity that round, so they told me they weren't really feeling that scared of the fallback from that challenge. So, but it's also timing. They just weren't there to compete. So they did send it like their pre-list, but like that also is just still a testament to Ketty's social game because it's like if you don't need to win competitions, you need to rely on people. How do you be with people? Social.
It is, yeah, I don't
That's
doubt
what
that
I
at
feel
all,
about
but there are
Caleb,
multiple
though.
aspects to a good game as well as.
What were you
Caleb
gonna say,
never.
Taylor?
Ketty was also doing like shady shit in challenges. It was so funny. Like the fact that Ketty was just so reckless in the challenges and doing things that would typically put a target on your back. And I think like temporarily put a target on their back. Like I was looking at Ketty funny at a lot of those challenges just because like, why are you going for Tyler right away? Like you two were on two tribes together. Like why are you taking everything in the greed challenge? Like you're putting a target on your back. And then the fact that I forgot about all those things so quickly is wild. Like it's yeah.
Like, especially like the greed challenge, you sit there and you're like, Kenny's got so much. And then like the next couple rounds, it's like, where did it go? Where did the knowledge go? It just like vanished because he was so good with that social.
My favorite is a lot of y'all didn't get to see, but Ketty struggled in that ping pong ball challenge. Like they struggled and they were upset. They were like, I'm gonna lose this. And so like even like challenge wise, like
Oh my God, yes.
camera.
I was on the phone with Ketty after that, and they were like, it was like game over. And I was like, no, we're gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
I've seen this before. The other group's probably gonna be like 1 or 0. Like we are fine. But Caleb. So I'm just thinking a lot about the challenges that required like people
Well,
to
we're about to
give
go
you
right
stuff.
into that.
Oh my
Oh my God, I
God,
love
Talk
that
about
because
Lisa.
yes, whiteboard transition.
I'm excited.
Up
I
in
did not
here.
expect that.
No, because
Okay.
like
I'm too
I
happy
feel
for
like
this.
Caleb did a really good job in the challenges where like you needed to rally the troops. Like the one thing that I was stuck on was like, why was Caleb's average in that white elephant challenge a 2 point whatever? Like, how did you manage that? And I sat there with a calculator trying to figure out who ranked him what, because I know for damn sure I did not rank him anywhere near the number 2 or 3. So I was trying to figure it out. Like, how did he get so high? Like, what
Did
is
anybody
he
rank
doing?
Caleb high for that?
All y'all did because I ranked him a 5,
He
and
was
I
my
knew.
Three.
He was my number one in that challenge actually. Because it was
Yes,
right
and
after
like,
the
Oh,
fallout of the
really?
he
live
was my
challenge.
number 2.
yes, and we talked so much cash money shit about him just now, and yet all y'all ranked him high. And so like he must have been doing something right. And granted, I had my time to yell at Caleb and raise my voice at him, whatever. So like that's that. But I feel like in that specific comp, and I feel like he got really far in the give and take one. So he was doing something. The cup one, both him and Ketty, like, oh my god, train wreck, like literally.
I got to go once and I should have gone earlier, but
And me and Tyler went every single time, made it every single time.
so did
you should have gone
I.
third.
So did I. I was
It was a
ready.
mess. I was like, what are we doing? But those are the only challenges I remember with the two of them.
Yeah, so other than the one we won with Ketty, did Ketty win any other individual immunity?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they did.
So they got one.
Bummer.
They got one individual
Yeah.
meet.
Yeah, and Caleb got 3 total, including the group one.
Including, so 2 individual.
And then the one group one.
Wait, when did Ketty get individual immunity?
Just the group.
With just the group one.
There's
the
also
cup
Tower
one. Okay,
Idol.
okay.
And
Wait,
with
is this Teddy or Caleb?
Caleb right now, sorry, we kind of switched in between. Caleb got 2 wins and then 1 like group immunity win with
And Teddy
us.
got 1 individual.
With the group, yeah.
Ketty also got the Tower Idol, I think.
That was from the
Teddy,
Greed,
Teddy got
right?
the Tower Idol from Greed, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I hate physical anyways.
That's the thing too.
It
Is
is the least important pillar, but that's my opinion.
Yeah,
Right.
I do agree with that. Like, sure, the challenges are fun. Sure, they're just. I lost my train of thought halfway through that. Sure, challenges are fun, but at the end of the day, the strategic and the social, I feel like, are a higher priority. So
Yeah, like what are your guys like what do you guys of the 3 pillars? Like who values social the most?
It's like social strategic, and if you
They're
win, you
number
win.
2.
It's different. Like I feel like physical strategic's a thing. Like if you're knowing your name is on the line and that flips a switch in you to go and win those competitions when you need to, that's different than just winning a competition here and then when you don't like need to. But Ketty didn't have to do that. Ketty just was socially able to work with us and finesse us.
I would like to say with the physical, I do believe that outplay typically encompasses more than just the challenges itself, but how well one outplayed utilizing the mechanics of the game. So anything that was put into the game by production via a challenge, via a twist, via the mechanisms of the idle hunt, things of that nature, and how well one could utilize that.
I want to harp on something.
Sure.
I specifically
Sure.
want to say
Go ahead
that
and harp.
my answer is I used to typically be a person that focuses on social, but I honestly think in this game, I think strategic is more important because yes, they are like intertwined in a way, but the way I look at strategic versus social, social is the ability to be able to get along and talk with people, but strategic is able to use that influence that you have, whether you have it or not, to get further no matter what. And you are looking at a play, you're looking at a gameplay move. And I think Ketty specifically was a more strategic player. Yes, he used our emotions. Yes, he made us feel good. So he's still a good social player, but his strategic moves were so much better in comparison to me. I also feel like Caleb was strategic, but his strategic gameplay was not in comparison to what Ketty's was. And because he didn't have a social game that was strong, Ketty's is, in our eyes, I think, a little bit more prominent and a little bit more like encompassing of us as players and as what we probably want as a juror, if that makes sense.
I absolutely agree with that. I think social is the ability to like talk to people, get along with people, but then to be strategic and actually use that influence is a whole nother thing. So I do
But
agree that
did Caleb
strategic
use
is
that
a little more
influence if we
important.
all don't really, at the moment, feel like they're adequate to win?
Did they use their influence? Yes. Do I agree with the way they use their influence? Not even close.
That's the thing. Like Caleb could have been strategic in a different sense when we were talking about like the voting, like the vote splits. So like for the Rock Knights, like Caleb didn't want to be on like the I call us the underdogs because we weren't formed in a voting block and y'all were all scary, trusting each
Are
other.
you talking about the night that I got a lot of votes and Danny used Seattle? Are you
uh
talking about that night?
or no, like the rock, like the first rock draw. I guess, well, yeah, is that I'm getting
It was
me.
me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was you when you got rocked out,
Hmm.
Laura. So like
Oh.
he didn't want to defer from the side that he was just going to defer from in two more rounds. So he was lying to them, like being like that, but it wasn't like strategic lying. It was more so like making sure they trust him in a way that it's like, oh, I actually trust you, but it's like I don't know. Y'all are nodding. Y'all know what I'm
He
meaning.
didn't do
So
a
it's
good
like,
job.
I think so, yeah.
Did not
yeah,
do a good
He
job.
was too, he was so pushy about it. And then Tyler had information and hopped on a call with us right after. And literally seconds after our call with him, we changed our plan because, yeah.
So
yeah.
that
So
was the
it's
Danny vote was when Caleb tried to come to me to push a plan that benefited his game. And I said, whoa, whoa, that doesn't make any sense for me. So I went back, told Sheena, Taylor, Austin, I said, Sheena, you need to use your votes. You need to put both your votes here because the plan was to split. And Caleb tried to push that and coordinate a split strategy wise. But because we didn't trust him, we were like, hey, no, the four of us need to get on the same page of what makes the most sense right now in this vote.
Speak to that effect. Can anyone speak on like things that, because obviously I didn't communicate with them, either of them that frequently, especially prior to merge. So can you guys speak on any like big moves that both of them made? Either of them like orchestrated themselves? Because like I know pretty much everyone here has done that. I don't really have any examples of either of them doing that, like being the spearhead of a big move.
This is what I need to talk to Ketty about one on one after the game is over. But Ketty's strategy with me is the reason that Ketty is in the final two right now. Ketty came to me right after Danny was voted and helped push a strategic narrative based on the live night that Sheena and Taylor did not trust me in the slightest post that night, and also talked to me about a final three with Noah for an opportunity for three people who use they pronouns to be sitting in the final three to make history. And I need to talk to Noah about that because me as a person with that identity,
mhm.
feeling like that was weaponized, not a good, not a good feeling. However, the strategy behind it and allowing me to feel comfortable to flip knocked Taylor out, which then knocked Sheena out, which then knocked me out, then knocked Austin out. If Ketty hadn't had that conversation, y'all would be choosing between a two of me, Sheena, Taylor, and Austin.
um so to my knowledge, I didn't know anything about that reasoning. Um I don't want to invalidate your feeling, just I want to speak on my relationship with Ketty. I don't think Ketty is the type of person to weaponize that. And I'm not saying I
Agreed.
can't,
Teddy
I
used that with me as well, just so you know.
I think from my conversation, yeah, I think it's more so like if Ketty, you and I were in the final two, it'd be like, imagine how iconic it would be for people with like that kind of terminology, which I guess I don't kind of take like that's what Ketty wants to do at the end of the day because Ketty likes strategy and Ketty likes game. So that can be, I never got that vibe, but if that's the truth, that is icky. But I don't think Ketty plays that way. We were under the assumption that Tyler, you were never genuinely going to be with us at the end of the day. Like if I didn't win that immunity, I felt like both our like names could have been a big target. And so me winning that immunity was a point for you to be like, I have to make sure I survive the next round. And that's when like things were getting more receptive in our alliance chat. So like I think maybe he was just under the notion that like Tyler needs to trust this for the plan to work, for the domino effect to take into place. Because without you, Tyler, Sheena wouldn't be able, without you, like everything wouldn't have been able to happen and the game wouldn't have been able to be set up for the final five because, yeah, it would have, like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess that's how I see it.
And that's why I want to talk with Keddy one-on-one after, once the game is over. And it's like, this is real talk now. Like, there's no benefit to lie or to say anything and just having a conversation
I
about.
will say, Tyler, on our one-on-one calls, Keddy was very distraught, like personally, just because they have an immense amount of appreciation, and this is before they sniped your ass
Absolutely.
too. But like they have the immense amount of appreciation for you, and they have a big heart, y'all. Like they genuinely care so much. So that's why if things ever get like personal, I don't think it like actually strikes that deep, and they're no like I don't think it's a purposeful act.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that's what I want,
Yeah.
like discuss of like if that's part of your strategy, right? And like you had conversations with multiple people about like this is what I want this alliance to look like. That's totally fine, right? Like demographics are a huge part of the game. I know that a lot of us like root for people who look like us or might be different and might be a different person to have as a winner and represent the season. That's totally fine. Um, my thought was just like it did feel gross after I left of like that was, a conversation that we had. And if that was part of the strategy, then that feels like something I should address with Keddy one-on-one as well. But other than that, I think Caddy had a great strategy and like utilized the social game to their strategy. I don't think like they were ever complacent. I think their head was on a swivel the entire time of trying to come up with new moves. Using the strategy to get an idol at final six was smart, right? Like having that part of the game and be a twist that I didn't see coming. And so I was like, now I have to panic based on Keddy's strategy of holding an idol at final six.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at Final Five, taking Cuddy going into it, knowing what they thought was going to happen, being optimistic, thinking that they were going to get the conductor vote and still saving Caleb, even though that wasn't a guaranteed thing. That was a bold move.
Absolutely.
A bold move because Sheena and Taylor would have sniped Keddy's ass if Keddy did not get that conductor vote. They would have been like, child, you are a fool. Hello? Like, bam. Like, but it paid off. And then the person they saved took them to the end and they didn't have to do anything.
Yep.
Strategy.
Boom.
It definitely paid off.
Yeah. So I guess, Jess, anything else you want to ask us?
Yeah, I was like when you were talking about the everything earlier, I was wondering like how do you feel about like deep and personal topics being used kind of like as strategy? Like how do you guys feel like generally about that?
I mean, I guess I want to go because like I know that when I get on a conversation and I'm on calls with someone for long times, and then I like to switch between game and personal. If I have that relationship with someone, if I mention there's so many complexities about my life, if I mention anything about it, I always like get like I want to preface. I'm like, don't take that. I'm like, don't take this into game if you're planning whatever already. Like, this is just me talking. So like, I talk about being on the spectrum, having ADHD, like all my things and the difficulties that come along with that. Like I was very open all season about like having to take an intense sleeping medication and some like trying to stay up late for things and then not being able like I got laid off during the season and I just wanted to be open about that because I didn't want people to be like, Noah's not on Discord. But like, no, real life happened. Like, I don't want people to use that against me. So I feel like I'm just like the type of person like I hope that people don't do that. But if people band together for certain reasons and they all have a common goal, I'm also like happy to be a part of a same season that where people are able to do that and work together. And if they have a mission or they had a goal and accomplished it in a good strategic way, then bravo, like y'all ate. But so it's like it's different. If you weapon like I don't want it to be used because like I've been open about stuff and people have tried to weaponize that against me when it's just my personality and me just being open about my life. So that's where I
Right.
stand.
So there's like that line, and like you feel like
Yeah.
that line was not crossed at all.
For me personally, no, it wasn't crossed at all. And in the only way in the game sense
By
that I
any of the finalists, by the
no,
way.
yeah. I mean, Caleb, like heavily insinuated conversations that we were going to be final two together since like final seven and final six. So, and I knew about like how deep Kenny's and Caleb's relationship was. That's why I trust it. Like, it's like some people say lies, not lies. Some people say things, but they go deeper. Like the me, like I don't know. It's weird, and people can feel the same way about Ketty. I guess I just try to reflect on it and see it from their perspective and see their game and see what they're just trying to do to get there. And I'll put it in my head and guess if it's right or wrong.
Yeah. What do we think about like Caleb's strategic game? I'm hearing a lot about like Teddy, and like I like want to make sure that we have like kind of like balance, right?
Um, I can speak. So, well, looking at it, because I had to watch Caleb from the outside a lot. So, looking at it, he smart, honestly. If the strategy was truly to like stay out of the heat and like let everybody else make the decision, so that like when, oh, yeah, that is my favorite thing.
Just know
Okay.
it's gonna be good.
Just no. Be fair. But yeah, so like watching it, it's super exciting to see Noah, or not Noah, Caleb just sit there and do nothing, but then be
What?
successful. Like that is a good strategy in my opinion, because like by the time you get to everyone else is taking the heat. So like keeping yourself out of the hot seat also keeps yourself off of the ballot. And then when their name was on the ballot, they did have plans in place to keep their names away from it. Aside from the rock draw that got us all, yeah, I think like the strategy of doing nothing is still a good strategy.
The man does have logic. The man does
Yeah.
have a brain. Like I was on calls with him and Ketty. Like as someone who studied theory and like social maneuvering and stuff, he ran through scenarios, plural. Like he was thinking, was it to the benefit of his own game or to other people though?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. It was the does the strategy make sense? You can have strategy and have the most illogical game ever, but I guess I honestly think it like because I want like I'm 99% sold going into this tribal council on one person, but I want to leave that 1% because like if you give me a final speech like that woos me and shifts me off my Canadian ass, like I'm an emotional bitch. Like I can get goosebumps, like I can cry. So it's like I know what it means, but it's like he's been in the final two before in his first org and he lost for a reason. So I wonder if that's going to happen again.
I think part of his strategy, he talked to me a lot about this in the beginning. Um, I think it was kind of a mix of like trying to create a social game and just what you were saying before on like weaponizing things. It was kind of like in reverse a little bit, where he talked a lot about not wanting to be looked at like he was in his first game. He talked a lot about his first game. He told me he talked to everyone about that, and that's fine, that's great. And he told me he wanted to play a different way. He did until merge, in my opinion. And I think the one good thing he did was get, well, Sheena was never on board with Caleb, but to get me and Sheena to vote with him. Like there were a couple votes there where we easily could have taken him out. And because me and Caleb had developed that working relationship, I'll say, strategic relationship, I didn't want to take him out. I saw him as someone who would stick with us until he very obviously, right at merge, was just not good. But I think he kind of flipped that around and used it in a way where it was like I kind of felt bad to turn against him or go against him strategically because he just like really banked on that. And that I don't know if that was like his strategic game. That's what it felt like to me, where it was like, I just want to play differently this time. I don't want people looking at me this way. Like I know when, we heard that he was saying stuff about me and Sheena, like half of our call was him saying that. I don't understand why people are talking shit about me. I don't understand why people are like warping my words. And just like I feel like that was kind of his strategy for a big part of the game. And yeah, I don't think it was
twisting words.
Yeah, that's well, and it's like you and Sheena Taylor had like so many opportunities to veer away from Caleb. So it's like, what was he doing to like make y'all feel like he that I get what you're saying. Like y'all had chances, and it's like there was still things that he was saying that made y'all,
no, we weren't
No,
even
it was that there were bigger threats in the game than Caleb. Like
yeah.
at the end of the day, like for me personally,
Hmm.
like I would have taken Caleb, like Taylor, I would have sniped you out and I would have taken Caleb to the, like one of those kind of things. Cause like I just feel like the way that he played, he was like very smug a lot of the time, which like did not sit well with me.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, what is the reason, you know?
Oh
But
my
me and
God.
Taylor were holding
Yeah.
his feet to the fire, and I think he knew it, and I think that's why, when he was the lone vote for Tyler, and then like just I wanted him out like pre-merge. I wanted to bring Sergio. Sergio!
Not that.
But Taylor felt really good about him, and so
Wait, lone vote for Tyler. Can we catch me up on that?
When I used my idol.
With like when I
yeah.
got rocked
When you
out,
got rocked out,
Yeah.
that was Caleb's
Caleb did
fault.
not vote for Tyler
Who was it?
because Caleb and I were together at that point. That was the one single time me and Caleb played Fortnite the night before. Caleb did not vote for Tyler.
He admitted that he did, though.
Caleb came to me on a call and was like apologizing left and
Didn't
right.
you all just say that Caleb is a liar, though?
Wait, so Aaliyah was
I
it
didn't
you?
Did
know
you vote
that.
for me?
I did not vote for Tyler.
Oh,
I
then
am
who
saying
did?
I can in
Do we
confidence say that
do
I
we
did not
know
believe
who
he
voted
voted
for
for
Tyler
Tyler.
then?
I do,
Yeah.
but I don't want to. I'm not outing anyone.
Yeah, I
But
don't want to out anybody, but I can confidently say that it was not Caleb.
Why would
That's
he
a
admit to
bad
it? That's
strategic move.
Yeah,
exactly
because
bad
at,
strategy.
at
Yeah.
like,
that
so
point
he
he
didn't
had
even vote
made a
with y'all
plan
on
with
that
me to
vote,
take me
y'all.
to 3. So at that point, getting out Tyler was not in my plan. So
I do
I
think Caleb and Keddy were gonna take me and Aaliyah to 4.
yeah. So that's an interesting narrative now that I'm hearing that
And
he
yeah.
like lied about that
Went
because he
on an
very much did not
apology
vote
tour
Tyler.
because
On an
I was
apology
drunk on the
tour, yeah.
street.
Damn, y'all.
He
Well,
was
he
an
was
apology tour because
playing.
he was cleaning up shop.
He was cleaning up. Oh, Aaliyah, you look so good right now.
I did just
It's
do my
true.
hair while we were on call.
But yeah, that's
Well,
that's the thing. It's like
but why is that good strategy?
That's
I
terrible
think that's when I
strategy.
got pissed the fuck off at him.
I just don't think it was good strategy
That's
for
when I
him.
yelled
It's
at
like
him
it was benefiting me and Keddy.
and not
Again,
himself.
so like I said, right? Like Noah and Kenny carried Caleb.
And the thing
Good
is, when
girl.
I sent him 3,000 words. I kid y'all not. I kid y'all not.
Not shocking
And
me.
I
I'm shook.
explained it. I explained it out in sections and everything. I'm like, Keddy's a storyteller. If you try to claim the same game as Keddy when you play with Keddy, you have so much upselling you're gonna have to do. And I said this
Mm,
to his face, like, and I said it to Keddy. I'm like, Keddy, I'm not dismissing your game at all. I'm telling him you have such a good game. Like, I wanted to go to the end with Keddy because I feel like we could have a battle against each other. Like,
yeah, it
we
would
could
have
have
been good.
swayed, rebuttaled, so it would have been a fun cuckoo party. Like, I don't know, like, but Caleb is like. I was like, Caleb, your odds are better against me because Keddy's able to tell that story. Like, I didn't have a pre-merge. Keddy had a pre-merge. Caleb had a pre-merge, but Caleb's pre-merge was being determined by Sheena and Caleb. Like, they had Caleb's game in their hands, and Keddy had to have Keddy's game in their hands with the tower idol and maneuver everything. There was a tribal in Keddy's team where no one went home because that's how many game savvy players there were on Keddy's tribe. That's a lot to take in. So, yeah.
I feel like big themes of like what I'm hearing is that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but like it sounds like Kenny was like in more of a powerful position, like kind of like well insulated, like nobody was really looking at them. And then Caleb was kind of like, I don't want to say on the bottom, maybe necessarily. See, I don't know, maybe on the
Caleb
bottom, like more of a fight. Like I don't know. How would you?
Caleb
I
was the double
personally,
agent, and Caleb was a double agent when Keddy was the one who had the agency.
Yeah, I would say that
I was
both
gonna
of
say,
them
oh, go
kind of
ahead.
were being used as votes by bigger players up until the double rock draw. Literally, as soon as the double rock draw came and the entire game changed, and then the even like pseudo alliances that were created broke, that's when Caleb and Ketty started
Everyone.
becoming bigger players for themselves. Like before that, they were both being used by bigger players, and I'm gonna be completely frank about that. And everybody knows that too. Like they
I
weren't
won't.
they that's what I was saying before. Neither of them were making the big moves. They were the ones like just agreeing, I'll vote where you need me to vote.
I
And
won't fully agree with that though, because at least from my experience with Keddy, the reason why I
Yes,
say that
yes.
Keddy did a lot more stuff on his own and brought up a lot more in that, at least when I was with Tyler and Caden, a lot of that was specifically Keddy doing the work, and the
real.
rest of us were playing in reactionary of what he was doing. He didn't have to be safe that like, well, granted he was. He didn't have to be safe that round that Caden was like. We all like did that thing with Caden, and no one went home. He was the one that really ran that. Whereas I really feel like Keddy played the middle in a way that was more masterful than what Caleb thought he was doing because you were in his shadow the entire time in that game. Because the first memory I have of Caleb versus Keddy, Keddy had already done all of this stuff and I had seen him. And the last thing Keddy asked me before we went to, I believe, the merge, can you use your idol on Caleb? And I almost used it because of Keddy, but I was like, why would I do that when I don't know that man? And that's where I was like, I give that testament to Keddy was almost, I was literally just because I was not off work, I did not give that idol to him.
I was on call
And
with
that's
Ketty
where I
when that
look
was
at it.
happening. The
I'm
I
only
just
gonna
think Keddy
be
played
so
better.
honest. I don't want to give Keddy the credit for something that we were just all on the same page about.
We
Yeah,
Like
were.
like
me,
we
like
all
we were all on the
agreed.
same page of using the idol. That's why we all had immunity and we all did
Yeah.
not go home that round. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't
Well,
give
everybody
Keddy the
had
credit
their
for
own
that.
cards to play. So like I
well,
don't think that was like Ketty specifically choosing. I think like everybody
mhm.
chose and it just happened to be like work out a little bit more for Ketty. I don't think that had anything to do with Ketty's choices. I think that had everything to do with the cards that everybody was dealt.
But
Tyler.
the only reason why Caden had an idol is because Caden and I worked together to make sure Caden had the idol.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Tyler is like probably one of the only reasons why I got that, besides
Caden and
myself
I
putting
were
the other
day
But
idol in.
Tyler,
one.
did you get those clues from Keddy? Because when we were on the cross tribe challenge, Keddy was like, okay, we're gonna get this clue, we're gonna get this idol for Tyler when y'all were going to tribal. And then he was so like all the clues we were
Because
spilling.
I didn't tell Keddy that I had sin immunity until about 5 hours before tribal.
Yeah, nobody knew. I was the only one that knew.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say though is that, and you all can decide if this is a blemish on Keddy's strategic game, particularly you, Danny. But the reason that Danny and Caden had the fallout they did was because Keddy wrote out a paragraph of a plan of like, we just need to tell Caden this, this, and this, and Caden will be fine. And we will navigate this and we will continue to work as a four. And it made no sense to me. And Danny,
It
because
made
you
sense to me.
trusted because you trusted Keddy, you ran with it. And I immediately
True.
Yes.
Caden, I said, I don't know what just happened, but this is about to get messy.
Where
Is this
Keddy was coming from after this happened, Keddy was trying to play off the fact that Caden and I already had like previous beef. And that was something that he wanted specifically that when we go back, because he
Wouldn't
knew
that
that
be
you
a
were going
personal
to,
thing though?
it could be, but he was playing off of it. Does
Right.
that make
That's my
sense?
point, is that he used
Yeah.
something personal.
But he used that in a
that's
way that
personal? Sorry, I'm saying a quote in my head. Sorry.
you're good. Um, but he used that in a way that I felt, oh, I know now that once this happens, Caden's gonna come back even like more pissed off at me, and I'm gonna have to do damage control. And then it was told to me by multiple people, Caden's coming to me. Katie was scot-free from that because all of that ran off on me. That's where I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I see where he
I
made
wasn't
that
mad because of
move.
anything Keddy said. I was just directly, it was directly just me and you. Like, I didn't even give a fuck
Yes,
about
but
anybody
that
else
was the
said.
plan that he orchestrated and made me feel like the fool.
hmm Yeah,
Does
because
that
Okay.
make
you
sense?
hadn't said
He knew the
anything.
plan that he already, like, from what I was told, him and Tyler had a conversation as well before I was told anything. I don't know if that's true, but that was what I was told.
We had a conversation. Keddy told me the plan, and I said, Sure, sounds good because that only hurt Keddy's game in my opinion. But then when Keddy had you say all that information, I said, "Oh, I will just sit back for sure." Because if Keddy's gonna tell it like to you and you're gonna relay that to Kaden and be like, Kaden, actually, like the three of us were gonna do this and blah blah blah, and like spun it way out of control when Kaden already knew the truth, is that
Hmm.
I flipped my vote on purpose so that you two would think that I was voting with you and not protecting Caden.
It was a
Yeah.
We
genius
saw
Tyler
through
and I
plan.
that.
like
We
planned this
saw
out
through
like so
that.
extensively that it wasn't even funny.
Such a genius plan. Like that's why I
Oh,
can't be mad at it.
But
no, yeah.
yeah,
You see, if
that
y'all
And
was
didn't
pretty
wait,
snipe me, like I
orchestrated
had my
by.
stuff set up, I felt like.
oh, Kaden, you were
Yeah.
the biggest for I don't know why. It
We
was
did
like
have to work that a bit.
that was
Apologies.
like me. I was
I
like,
had
so like
nothing to do with that, Caden.
Yeah, that
you
was
probably
me
that
and
was
Noah
Wait,
going
that
don't
was
even
through.
start,
me.
Danny, because you're the only reason why I went home.
No, it was me and
No,
Aaliyah.
It
yeah,
was
I
them.
literally
Me and
actually had to
But
yell
Danny
at
used the
Danny.
idol, and that wouldn't have happened
They
if.
told me to.
Yeah, because so two
Danny
hours
said,
before
"I'll
this,
use the idol if y'all need me to use
yeah,
it." And then I'm
2 hours
like, "Were
before
you?"
this, me
I
and
was like,
Danny and Noah were all on call together, and I was literally yelling at Danny, like
I
the
was
plan.
like,
I was just like,
"Danny, you're
everybody
using
shut
it on
up and listen
Laura.
to this
They
plan.
did
Use it
not
on
leave me
Laura."
alone.
And
It
so
was a
I
mess.
was like, I don't care if I have to only use 3 votes to get Caden out. Caden makes it. I was like, Caden, this is just a side note. Caden, I saw you as a block to all these people that I could
Me too.
connect it with. You were a blocker, Tyler,
He
because I was
did
like,
say that to
Tyler,
me.
You were a
Tyler,
common
Tyler's gonna trust
denominator.
that. Tyler's gonna trust you over me. Everyone's gonna
That's
trust you over
low-key my
me.
strategy, divide and conquer. So
Yeah,
So I'm
and
like,
we saw.
and when you started connecting with me, when we were on a call for an hour, the night you were gonna go home, I was like, oh shit.
And that's
I
also what
don't
happened with me. We started talking literally that same
Leah,
night.
Aaliyah
I
and
was
I
just
oh my
talked. I'm
god,
like,
like,
no, I
we
was so
really like
sad.
I was
Caden.
like,
We
it's
really like.
happening. I know it's
Yeah.
happening.
And I feel like I have literally no idea what happened when Kaden actually went home because I woke up that day at like 2 in the afternoon and Kenny came to me and was like, okay, this is what's happening. Here you go.
Yeah, and we were
Yeah.
like yeah. That whole round, I'm not trying to take a little credit from it, but like Keddy was a big strategic focal point, and
Yeah.
Caleb was just giving us the information. Like
Yeah,
he wasn't.
we did use
Pretty much.
Petty a lot for that. He was like very strategic and I would say
Yes.
like crucial in getting the information across to places where we couldn't.
Yeah, like I feel like there's things about that round that I don't know, but from my perspective, Kenny was a big part of like getting all of that together.
Mhm.
I
But
think
again,
for
that's
me,
because I wasn't a part of like that whole conversation at the beginning where like I was just literally brought into it. So
yeah,
I,
I
I
think
mean,
for
I think it'd
me,
be cool if you guys went through each round of the merge and gave your interpretation of who of the finalists had most control over each vote.
You
Period.
spicy. I like
Oh,
that.
I
so spicy.
love
Thank
Jess.
you.
Jess, when are you coming back?
I love drama.
That's a good question.
Okay.
So let's
after the
start.
merge, you
Caden's
said,
first.
or just jury?
Oh,
Like, do we include the mic vote or no?
If
We
you feel like
can.
there were votes like before the merge that were significant to the merge game, like talk about it. Fuck it.
So when Kim went home night one, 3 people quit.
Literally,
Kidding.
that was the
Sorry. I'm
Two
craziest
sorry.
thing.
people,
Noah.
two people got booted.
Even it took me half a second to realize that neither Kenny nor Caleb were involved in it.
Anyways, so I do feel like
You'll talk about those days.
because like Kaden, the night Mike went home, Kaden was also in contention.
Yeah,
But that
was
was
the
just like
hard
the
one.
setup, and that was just like the trying to get the name out there kind of thing. And that was kind of predetermined by Keddy. Keddy's like, well, if Kaden doesn't go, if there's a few names out there, then like maybe it'll catch on. So I'm like, and it did. The next like the target stayed and it was still happening. So it's like, yeah. So then Kaden went, and then the next round it was
The
Laura.
double rock.
It was a rock vote, and I feel
Wasn't that you though? Was it the rock? The
Well,
first one?
we planned the first one.
Yeah, I was like, it wasn't that planned, the first one.
We
well,
planned
yeah.
the
The
first
first one
one.
was
The second
planned.
one wasn't, but the first one was.
The first one
I
was
will
planned.
say, without Caleb like flipping that round,
Yeah.
I would have been gone.
Yeah. And
And
also, if Ketty would have just decided to go and vote you out, Noah, on the second vote, then the final would look different too, because Ketty was the determination there.
Ketty would have got slaughtered.
Yeah.
Ketty wouldn't have had that idol at the end of the game.
That is true.
But then yeah, so Caleb maybe did have some agency because without me being one of Caleb's guardian angels in this game, I don't know if Caleb would have had a strong agency because without me being fully connected to Caleb through Ketty, I would have rode so hard with Sheena, Taylor, Austin, and Aaliyah.
Yeah, honestly, without Caleb, I probably would have had the opportunity to get closer to Sheena and Taylor.
Yeah, and Ketty was the glue that held us to as the same way that Aaliyah was the glue that held the trio of me, Danny, and Aaliyah together to be a strategic force. That Ketty was the glue for me and Caleb. Okay, so
moving on to the next.
Final 8. So Danny's.
That was I had no.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say here. I'm done.
That was Miss Taylor, Sheena, Tyler.
That was
and
these
Austin.
two right here. That was them two.
Caleb's mistake.
That was Caleb gets negative strategic points because I told him to switch his vote.
That was
Sheena,
Taylor boss moment.
5 minutes before the vote, I don't feel comfortable voting Taylor. Danny is unpredictable for me. I need Danny to go.
And then he said,
and mind you, I'm on an excursion in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and they're like,
she does underwater. What? It's like getting.
And Danny calls me, and I'm like, he's like, we gotta find somebody else. Like, can you? And I'm like,
can you lift this date up?
Like, there's nothing I can do right now.
That's all she wrote.
So yeah, Caleb gets negative strategy for that one.
That's because that was like the flop hour after the rock draw. Everybody was like flopping, but I mean, Sheena and Taylor, you guys were really in a good position after that. So I was expecting you guys.
Y'all's position after,
yeah. I mean,
until it wasn't.
No shade.
Yeah. Well, because
I wanted y'all to be, but no shade.
You were in a good position for that vote, Amy.
Yes.
Yes, there, yeah.
And then Sheena, you slayed Dobby.
I'm so sad. Listen, that wheel. Fuck that wheel.
Fuck the wheel. Fuck the wheel.
The wheel on your season has been crazy.
I literally never received a vote, and I am still bitter about that a little in my heart.
I'm bitter in my heart.
That's kind of iconic, Aaliyah.
Yeah, I was like, what icon status? No vote.
First org, and you didn't get voted out with a vote? Like, hello?
Still shed a tear.
So wait, Taylor's next.
Taylor is next.
I have questions about this one. This one is probably going to determine my vote. Well, I mean, not really. But I just want to confirm that no, I had a big part in it. But I think Ketty led that vote fully because I had it was so masterful.
Taylor, if I had it my way and I said Sheena would have gone home that round, so I would have got my sin immunity. So I was pushing so hard, love. I was pushing so hard, love. I was like, these are my two mothers, and if one of them has to go first, it has to be Sheena, because she has my idol. Taylor's Canadian. Please give me this one chance. So Taylor, I was trying so hard, but you were, Mama, you were the biggest contender to win too at that point.
Touchy
period.
Touchy feelings both times I played fucked me. But yeah, so basically, Tyler, I know you were instrumental in me going, but I had a call with Ketty that day. And Ketty was so fucking smart because Ketty had, by that point, had voted me twice already. We also had only had one call. This was our second call. And basically, Ketty said to me, Taylor, if I vote Caleb this round, I need to know that, you're going to continue with me and not just vote me out next round. So I was like, yeah, and they were saying yeah, the two of us working together could be really unexpected, which I agreed with. For me in this game, on most calls, if you weren't in my top 5, I was gonna agree with a lot of what you said, and I didn't mean it. But with Ketty, I was actually yeah, that's actually smart. Let's do it, whatever. And then he said, would you vote Tyler? I need to know, would you vote Tyler out next round? I said yes, because I'm not going to say no and end our strategic conversation. And then they said, okay, so hypothetically, Tyler gets immunity. are you voting Noah? Like, would you vote Noah over me? And I was about to message you, Noah, and be like, oh, Kenny's trying to like get me to go against you. I didn't, but I was just like, yeah. Um, and then I found out from Tyler that the reason Tyler turned on me was because they found out that I was coming for them. So Kenny had been like strategic. The fact that Kenny was strategically planned that. And then Sheena, what did Kenny say to you?
Yeah, he was like, or they were like, I talked to Taylor and I gave her an out and she did not take it. And I was like, that sound like such. So I immediately knew like he's gaming hard and I appreciated it.
No, like
And he,
Either way, I was fucked. Like either way,
yeah,
he was getting me out
he
that.
spun it. Exactly.
on those calls, like I was like, Cuddy, you're gonna talk to Sheena at some point, like, and try to do this. Like, we're staying on call until Sheena gets on. And I was like, she's on, go.
Not you keeping tab of the circle.
We had the best conversation. I was like, wait, is
That's
this
what
our
he
time to
said
work
too.
together and be so sneaky little sneaksters? And he was like, yeah,
He
like,
said,
it was just wonderful. And I was like, I'm so mad I didn't work with you from the beginning, but that's
that's
my
what he
okay.
problem.
said.
That's fun. That's hilarious because Taylor's call with Keddy was a copy of my call with Keddy. It was the same script of like we would be an unexpected duo working together, whatever, whatever, whatever. And
So good.
then they were floating names to me, and this is where I deviated because I would be like, I don't know.
Austin. No.
Well, because like we all had this because which what Keddy did differently in my conversation than in Taylor's is because Keddy was responding to my like I was so frustrated that people like I can't remember what the frustration was. I think it centered around Caleb. I don't know, but Keddy did something really good, which is like, we don't have to agree, but I just want to hear what you're talking about because like I know we don't agree. We're not voting with each other. And I was like, yeah, we haven't been doing that, so it's okay. I'm going to tell you, yeah, I don't know about Tyler right now, but I'm not going to tell you no. I think I even said like it's not a firm no, but it's also not an excited yes. So I'm just leaving you with that, which I don't even think we like compared notes about that call, Taylor, but Keddy told us the exact same thing on both calls, but it led to like different outcomes, which good for them.
I think that's why I and also like Keddy appreciated your game, Austin, a lot, and actually like working with you a lot because it's like we had such different opinions on how like things wanted to go, but the way you were still receptive was something that I know Keddy appreciated and I appreciated. So it's like, and those same people where it's like, I feel like when Caleb's set on a decision, and it could be an irrational, immediate decision, they're not getting swayed and they're just going to be like not open to hearing things. So it's
yes.
like,
Oh, now I'm remembering because that was my thing. Because I think that was when Caleb and I had that big disagreement.
we talked
and I
about
was
that,
like,
yeah.
Yes, and I was just like, y'all don't have to like walk on eggshells around me. Like, say something to me, and then like I can do whatever I want with it. Like goddamn, I am grown as hell. Like, let me do whatever I want with it, and you can pay the consequences for my actions, and I can pay the consequences for my actions game wise. And the fact that both you, Noah, and Keddy are both like, yeah, like I just want to tell you, and you can do whatever you want with it. I was like, yes, tell me what I want to hear. I yelled at Caleb about this for like hours, because I don't think at that point, like I didn't think I needed to lie about like, yeah, I'm hesitant about voting Tyler out. Like it was very clear. Y'all knew based on everyone's answers at the station. They were like, yeah, there are clear divisions with the cabin. These people are voting this way. These people are voting this way. It's not a mystery. So why, in my head, I'm like, why lie?
And I think for me, like I was so naive in believing that like Tyler and Keddy had beef. Like they had convinced me. I trusted Tyler like full on. Like he was one of my number ones. Like we were gonna go all the way to the end, like as far as we could together. And I literally wrote Tyler a novel after my talk with Keddy, and I was like, he is gunning for you so hard. And so when Keddy voted, was the sole lone vote for Tyler to get out, I wasn't surprised. And then it was surprising to hear Tyler, your version of why you were riding with Keddy to the end. And so yeah, I think sometimes in this game, like your emotions, like you want to stick with your writers. Like I told Tyler from like Harper, like you were my writer, like, and then you did
That's
what
how
you
I
did, and it was like a
oh,
domino effect.
I
One
love
after
how
the
Gina, you're direct and I love it. Like when you're on, you're like, you don't cut bullshit. You're like, it's like when I woke up, you're like, hey babes, it's you. And I'm like, oh shit, like what is happening right now? Like, hello. You're like, I
No, a
love
lot of it
you.
was like I knew we were in a position where I was like, I just have to be fucking messy at this point. Like I gave you a whole spiel about Caleb. Some of it was true, but Tyler was
You
like,
almost
Noah says you're
survived that
being
round too.
messy.
Like,
Noah
but
said,
like we were like, Sheena's being messy, but like also like Sheena's being messy. Like we could do like like
I gotta try something. And so
Just
then
no.
like me, Tyler, and Austin were on a call too, and I was like, what can you use the fact that Caleb told you about Teddy's idol against that? Like we were plotting and like just
Tried
trying to
really
figure
hard.
out. But at that point, it was what it was. So
his best move is leaving group chats, leaving alliance chats.
Oh my god. Wait.
I was devastated.
He left the alliance chat?
He just goes. She's
Tyler
like,
betrayed when on live
Oh,
night
you
when
left,
all that
Sheena.
shit
I
was
know you
coming
left.
Sheena
out.
left, and my heart broke. I was like,
That was iconic.
I've never disappointed someone so much in my whole
I'm
life. And
sad.
when
I
Sheena
know.
left our 3-person group chat,
I was like, hey, Prod, can you remove me from this chat?
They're
Because
like,
I
I
was like,
guess.
I've been
apparently
there.
Tyler's the
I've been
snake.
there. Love leaving a group chat.
like
But
tears in my
guys, I
eyes.
want to save all this juicy tea for the reunion because I'm not
Ooh.
qualified to do that. I just want to hear about this season. I have other things that I want to get to. So real quick, rapid fire. Who is more control for Caden's vote of the two?
Wait, what? Who was it? Oh,
What?
Who
okay.
is of the finalists?
Caddy.
Caleb.
Okay, so raise your hand if you think that Ketty was more in control of Caden's vote. 2, 3, 6. So that's majority. Okay, so all right. Got a split house. We're gonna have a split house for some of these. Okay, love
Just
it.
like I'm getting answers.
I know. I'm so excited. I had a whole thing. Laura, what do we think about Laura? How about Ketty?
Rocks. Yeah, I would say
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I'm so dumb. Okay, we'll just put a rock here.
And you'll have to put 2,
I
unfortunately.
guess I could
Actually,
Me
Aaliyah.
and Aaliyah
They
were
need
both
job.
rocks.
Oh yeah, the queens. Oh,
The
2 rocks on a
queens.
live night.
the drama. Okay, Danny.
Too focused on the puzzle. Oh.
What about Danny's vote? Caleb.
I can't really say much after I was voted out.
Taylor and Sheena? Question mark.
Yeah, Ketty was in more control because I thought Caleb was in negative control.
Okay, I guess I'll say Ketty because I feel like at that point Taylor and Sheena. I mean, they were telling me they're like, I don't want Ketty to go this round. We know Ketty needs to go, but like we have other plans in mind, and that's what they were telling me. They were being honest, and I'm like, I'm safe. I know y'all are being bullshitting to me. I knew they had to do their own business, so it was like, I feel like Ketty had more agency that round. I guess in terms of, I guess Sheena and Taylor can speak on that. Were you ever like really gonna vote Ketty, or like when y'all found out all the information, was it like Danny locked?
It was Ketty at first for me at the beginning of the day, but then Danny, the more we spoke, I was like, okay. But yeah, and then I think Tyler played a big role in that as well.
Yeah. So I guess
all right.
yeah.
Taylor's vote. Ketty,
That was
raise your hand.
Ketty.
You think it was Ketty? You think it was Ketty? I mean, I know some of you weren't there, but now that you have your assessment from your fellow jurors,
I'd like to say Ketty.
doesn't look like it's too split. Okay. So Ketty. Sheena. You can just say it out loud. You don't have to raise your hands if you don't want.
I'm Ketty for the rest of them, so you
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna
write
say
that down.
Ketty
Exactly.
for
Just
literally all of them.
Honestly,
down.
yeah.
Are there any votes you guys feel like Caleb had control over?
No.
No.
He
Noah,
chose,
but he made
yeah,
the
Except
wrong
Noah.
He
choice.
voted
Teddy
to
to go to the
take Kenny
final
to the
two.
end. That's all.
Literally
He chose to
except
take
Noah.
Kenny to the end. That's his only decision that he made. That's all.
He was
And
literally
he
never in a
chose to
power
lose.
Not the
position.
board just coming down. You're like, yeah, okay. And
You're like, well, right that
shit.
Got
Kenny.
it.
I love the board.
All right. So my sources sent me some tea from touchy subjects that I'd love to touch upon.
Oh God.
You guys remember
I do.
subjects?
I attended
Way
that
back
job.
when you were all still in the game?
Yes.
I wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the game.
That started at 7.
I mean, Aaliyah, you were still in there, so
I was not.
She
It was at
counted.
7.
you were an answer to a question.
Okay, does that count?
Yes,
Yes,
mama.
mama.
You're like, drink better.
Yeah. So
Okay.
who has the worst social game? Teddy got that one.
Okay,
Well, now
let's be
I think
completely
that answer is
honest.
wrong.
How
Touchy
do we feel
subjects.
about this?
Touchy subjects is such a bullshit comp in some ways because, like, if you're in your groupings and you're going to be answering these things, they're going to be publicly seen. You're going to want to make people feel good about the answers. And if people are not already feeling good about their games, they already know that,
Exactly.
they're going to be less shocked when they see it. So I voted
Say
Ketty with
that.
the worst social game, and I was in alliance with Ketty.
I think Kenny
So
also did a good job of like making people not realize the extent of
Yeah.
the social game. Like up until probably my vote,
1,000,000%.
I didn't realize the extent of their social game. And I'm learning so many things tonight about like who they were playing with, who they weren't playing with. Like
Yeah, because you guys, it seemed like it was a split season. Like you guys had like
it's weird because
sides.
we were all like talking to each other, but we also knew very clearly somewhat where the votings lied at the end of the
Every
day because we
time.
didn't hate.
I
Like,
was
all-
like,
hey,
everyone's my
how are
friend.
you?
We were split
Uh,
half
Not
for
working
most of the
together.
season.
we're
Like,
player,
split
yeah.
people.
And it's like I always wanted to keep my options open. So like, and so did Ketty. Like that's why people like conversations continued. That's why like Ketty was messaging people like
But then why
good
did Kenny
morning
win worst social game?
because people
Why?
don't want to vote their friends.
Also because they were like knee deep in that play. And
And
I
I
think it was
Yeah.
truly either gonna be Sheena or Ketty just because of the circumstances of their lives, like and where they were at.
Right.
Yeah. And then also it's like the same with White Elephants. Like I was voted at the bottom, but I don't think everyone negatively hated like that wasn't based on personal. That was based on I need my alliance members to pick this order. So it's like there's certain things when you go into like those comps where you're like,
Yeah.
you got to analyze it. We're all very savvy,
You
strategic
got to be
players.
strategic.
Strategic.
Paranoid.
And that's why we need a strategic winner.
We're all paranoid.
Who can lie without blinking an eye? Caleb.
Caleb.
True.
T. No.
Facts.
It's
No,
Ketty. It's actually Ketty.
it's Ketty. I'm sorry. Ketty had lied to me so many times in that like these past weeks, and I never thought anything of it.
They both are.
I never talked to
So
Caleb,
we
so I
think
can't
that
vouch for
Teddy
him.
was the one that should have won this one, but Caleb won it.
Yeah, I feel like Ketty won it for me specifically, specifically
Me
because
too.
when the strategic moves that they played specifically, they were used a lot for the communication, and the communication most of the time was not correct. Whereas Caleb only really communicated when it was like necessary to like get themselves out of a bad situation. Whereas Ketty used it specifically to make strategic moves, even if they weren't like specifically their moves that they were making. They still like used that capital that they gained to like progress further. Whereas Caleb really didn't do anything.
Yeah, and it's like also the events leading up to Touchy Subject, Caleb just lied to their whole alliance this whole game. So like
Yeah, but everybody knew. Like it's not like it was a
Yeah.
lie that was
Yeah.
like Teddy. Obviously, like Taylor was in the dark until her vote. Like
I just think that's why
crazy.
Caleb
Whereas,
was
like
the answer.
the moment Caleb tried to make a move, everybody was like, "Okay, Caleb." Like, girl.
I see what you did there.
we're like final. Okay. Okay.
Who thinks they're running the game but isn't? Caleb.
That's T.
That's so
T. Do I have to go boil some real quick?
Pinkies up.
Because T.
I'll be doing
Pinkies
tea
up.
time. Sheena.
That's the T.
And that that
time.
answer is
That's
given by
it? That's the
the
one?
case they thought that they brought
That's it.
Ketty there so that they could win. Mind you, Ketty probably was the worst option because love you obviously Noah, but the votes would have been split way more
It
if
would have
he
been
would have
more
been in the
split
end.
if Noah was there.
Like
Yes.
Oh, I
Caleb
know
had
that. I
a
literally told I literally laid. I was like,
Just
babes,
the way
if you go
Noah
to the
played out
end,
for
if
him.
I literally said the votes. I'm not trying to be. This is not a threat. I'm like
yeah.
Noah, Laura, Aaliyah, Danny, Taylor, Sheena. I was like something in my gut. The girls and the gays support the gays, and when they give a good game, they deserve to win.
Period.
Good
And
ad
that's
lib.
not fine.
All
And I'm like, not
And
to
that's
say
on
we're not all,
Curiano.
not to say we're not all open to like hearing Caleb's answers, but I just don't want any bullshit from Caleb. I don't want him to claim things that weren't actually his doing. Like, I don't want him to
That's my
say
fear.
he was
Mhm.
trying to tell me he's like, I believe I can convince a jury that like Keddy playing the idol was because I told him to. I'm like, Mom, like Keddy and I were on the call, and I was like,
Yeah.
Keddy, that's my idol, and I will like if you play it for anyone but you're like you cannot play it on yourself, play it on someone else. I don't care when. I don't like doing all that, and it was gonna happen. Like Keddy had the full control, knowing the logistics going into the rounds.
Yeah. At
Is
least
there
like Chetty can
anything
take credit.
is there anything that you think that Caleb could say that could, because I'm getting the sentiment that like everybody thinks that he didn't do much. Is there anybody that disagrees with that, that thinks that he did?
If he can detach his entire game from Ketty and feel like we feel that he, like, what's it
Like
called?
any of those
Gestured the whole
decisions were
Puppet
situation.
like
master.
If he can
independent.
do that,
Yeah.
he can get my vote. I will flip on Ketty for that. Probably
Or
my
like,
first
And
time
because
flipping.
and yeah,
I've been thinking about this ever since Aaliyah mentioned, like, well, Caleb did nothing, and that is strategy. Like, I've
Yeah.
done that before
Doing
in the
nothing
game,
is
and it got me
strategy.
really far. Yeah, and so like, I feel like if Caleb is able to like identify his do not like, hey, like during this game, I did nothing, and that got me this far, and these are all the little things that I did by doing nothing, and it got me to the end farther than all y'all. Then like that would sway me. Do I think
Intentionality.
but
yeah,
like
intentionality
yeah,
behind the
But
doing
is that
nothing. If you're able to name the distinct steps of doing nothing that got you to where you're at, which I also think is very hard because I will like I've gotten to final two before doing nothing and I wasn't able to say like I wasn't able to like identify all the times that I did nothing because that's hard. Like when you're laying back and letting other people take heat for stuff, it's hard to say what you did because you're not doing as much as like someone who's controlling or influencing. But if he's able to do that, like I'm really excited to hear that because I think that's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I want to ask you specifically, actually, because you played that power where you could peek at somebody's answer during touchy subjects, and you chose Caleb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I knew he would have the right answers. I knew he would have the right answers. It was twofold. I wanted
except
to
the
know what
ring.
he was thinking. I wanted to know what he was thinking because I knew that at that point in the game, I knew that he was going back and forth between the like the two sides. You know, like the whole like he had that he was working with Keddy, Noah, and all those people who I didn't really have a good idea of their game is, and he was working the same people who I was with. So I was like, oh, if he's talking to all these people and like they all trust him, he has the correct answers and I can take them and I can better understand how the game is going because at that time I felt like I didn't like after I forgot what vote that was after, but that was like a really sensitive time in the game for me and I was like, ooh, I don't know what's happening. And this is the first time I feel like I don't know what's happening and this is I need to fix it. And that was me fixing it.
It helps bring it like all together, like all of your like perspectives, like to like know the context of like when touchy subject was like in the game and stuff.
Girl, yes. And he was like, well, somebody copied my answers. And I was like, if I copied your answers, we would have the same score. So
That was so good.
So who doesn't deserve to be in the final seven? Keddy.
I can't tell if we were all being petty and just didn't want Keddy there in that moment, or if we had finally figured out that Keddy was truly playing the game.
Yeah, I think at that point, from like the outside, because I didn't play touchy subjects, from the outside, it looked like everybody was starting to realize that Kitty was a strategic player. So at that point, they wanted Kitty's name out there. They didn't, it wasn't necessarily to say that Kitty is the worst or whatever. It's to say that, hey, Kitty is a contender now. So like we need to get their name on the board. And that's what it looked like when I was like watching Tribal and like reading all of that, especially when I actually got to watch Tribal and hearing everybody speak. Ketty never stopped playing, and everybody knew Ketty never stopped playing. So when looking at the answers to touchy subjects, obviously it wasn't a clear reflection of how everybody felt. Everybody was threatened by Ketty.
That was the last
Oh
person
yeah.
I felt I could work with, and that was why I put Ketty in that spot.
Absolutely.
Even though like Caleb, I wasn't with him at that point or didn't trust him, I knew there was a higher likelihood of me being able to vote with him than vote with Ketty, who had been voting against me, and I knew was playing and like.
Yeah, and like at that point, Ketty did make a bunch of enemies because all the people who were remaining in the game, most of which were now a part of the opposing pseudo alliance. So like at that point, they were in the minority, and like that was the challenge directly after the double rock draw. So the numbers were skewed against Ketty at that point.
No, I saw you go on mute. Do you want to say something?
I just had a question about like the touchy subjects round for like the like majority like the alliance because it's like but Caleb was trying to spin after that was like Taylor and Sheena, you were really threatened by me and doing that, and then that was like the original name target going into like that round for votes from your side, or was that just bogus from Caleb?
We always knew you were a threat, and like you, Aaliyah, and Danny, we knew the three of you were really tight. The way that Sheena and I and Austin also were playing this game was that we knew, like the three of us knew each other, and everyone else seemed to be obvious about who they knew and who they were tight with. So we didn't want to do that. But we knew that like us being tight was a threat. So we were like, anyone we see that's tight, like we need to split them up. So the intention for those few votes was to split the three of you up.
Very, very that. I mean, obviously we had the same
energy.
plan, so we definitely understand that.
No, perfect. So like, yeah, I feel like from touchy subjects, that's when Keddy's name kind of did shift because like my name was a target before, but then Keddy's name was getting more vote like getting out there as a strategic focal person. Like people were catching on, Taylor and Gina were catching on, but like still we were having to work with Keddy because that was an option for us because we trusted Keddy over other people from other people doing us wrong. Caleb.
Very interesting. Let's see. What else do I have here? Who's most likely going to hear from Randy Jackson? It's a no for me, dog, Caleb.
Yes.
Accurate. And whoever answered me, you're going to hell.
It wasn't
me.
Looks at Austin.
Austin giggling.
Why am I in it? No.
You put yourself in the shoe and now tie your lace, okay?
I don't know how to tie shoes. My shoes are Velcro.
And then who's the goat of the season? Ketty.
Greatest of all time.
I truly thought that's what it was because it was
Thanks,
capitalized.
Aw, thanks, Tyler.
I kid you not.
I was like, Tyler.
Honestly, I can see both interpretations of that question.
Like touchy subjects would have been perfect right at merge. Like I feel like it
merge
would have
been
been better
fabulous.
because like
it would have been fabulous in merge.
Everything that happened after touchy subject was because of what happened right at merge, not anything that happened at that time.
I mean, that's how we got touchy about our subjects, though.
Yeah.
Answered at merge. All of you. Hello.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more.
I feel a lot more people at the merge would have answered strategically, so that their answers wouldn't have been like their shown answers wouldn't have negatively impacted their game.
Maybe at the reunion, you can do a touchy subjects
Like a
like
quick
reunion
little.
Let's
No,
do
style.
it.
PTSD. Too
That would be
soon.
We'll update
cute.
our
Let's
touchy
do
I
subject.
it.
I never
Too
got to
soon.
play, so I'd be into it. I'd be
I
so
want to do
into
it. Let's do
I
it.
personally never have been a fan of touchy subjects. I don't
It's
like it
my
that
favorite
much.
game.
But I
I
think that's
love
This
just
was
it.
the
because
best touchy
I think that's
subject
just because
experience
I'm
I've
so bad
had.
at it,
It's
though.
drama I love.
Worse.
So messy.
Oh my God. So I want to ask you guys, so who knows what they're doing and like cannot be swayed tomorrow? Or is it tomorrow? I don't know what day it is. Shit.
Whatever day, because I don't remember actually. Either.
It doesn't matter what day it is.
I don't think we had an
Saturday,
official
9
time.
p.m. Eastern
Please
Standard
don't
Time.
be
So we
Saturday
have like
because
5 of you, 4
I
that will
have a
not be
I
that
have
can't
a
be
way
swayed
that I'm
on.
leaning. I have a way that I'm leaning towards voting, but there's always that chance that something happens. That's how I look at it.
That's
Yeah, who feels
fair.
like
I
they're
agree.
open?
Yeah.
I want to say that
I
I
feel
agree
like
at this current moment, but no.
the uphill battle that one person has is like very steep. It's like
It's just
Everest,
such a
you
It's
I
not
know?
an
agree, Sheena. I
upselling.
agree,
Like,
Sheena.
I agree with what Austin said, but at the same time, Caleb didn't just do nothing. Caleb also did things that negatively impacted his game. So not only does he have to
Yes.
prove that like doing nothing was his strategy, he also has to prove that like those things that he did wrong were intentional. Like telling us that he voted Tyler, that is a like
That's
how do you
crazy.
explain that? Like how is in any way how is that a strategic move? So for me, it's
I
like
don't want to. I think it's because Keddy liked me more, and then not that like in the game, but like Keddy trust had me more in the game, so it's like, and Keddy knew Tyler had Tyler as their number one priority, and I was bringing Keddy to the end, so it's like I think Keddy just did a lot of convincing and making. Yeah, wow. Ugh.
Wait, Noah, did you say Keddy was my number one priority?
Not no.
Oh, okay.
Keddy like I was trying to go for to the end with Keddy, like,
Yeah.
and I think he
I was not.
prioritized. I know, and I think he just like he got Caleb just like yeah.
Yeah.
Danny, did you want to say something? You look like you felt strongly when you raised your hand. You were like, I know I made my decision.
Oh, no, not necessarily. I just there's not much, and like I agree with Sheena. There is not much that that really person like the battle that they have to go on that hill is like there's not much you can really tell me unless you come out here with like a stellar performance and you about to shock me like Marianne did in 42. I don't need
Period.
you to like
Period.
I don't need it. I don't need it, and you can go take it home and go and no shade, but go be with your wife. Like I'm sorry, no shade. No shade and no pink lemonade.
Listen, I get it. I totally get it.
A little bit. Period.
Do you guys know what questions you're gonna ask? Are you prepared? You gonna make a statement? You gonna yell? You gonna scream? You gonna make them cry?
I think
Can someone
No,
make someone
Chill.
cry?
no, this is a
I
stereotypical
might, but I don't
question
think
everyone
so.
asks, but like whoever wants to take the liberty of asking it like can go first, but like raise your hand, like close their eyes, and then we go through all of our names, and they have to raise their hand.
Of
Who's
who thinks they have the vote? I
I
don't
who
want
love
to do
they
that
think?
doing
one.
that. I love doing that.
And
I
it's
love
just like
that.
before we ask the questions and grow them to see their own perception of their own game,
I
and
would
then
love to kick it off like that. I think that's
yeah, and
Let's
we
great.
kick
can
it off like that. No, that's
and we
that's
can
Can we
that's
take
that's
we
recap
can
a
cheating.
take notes and
little?
be like, so
Because
Caleb, you
my
said you
phone
had
died.
this in person's
Oh,
vote. How?
wait, what did Aaliyah miss?
I like the last 5 minutes. My phone died.
Oh, I
Oh,
was saying we should open up the jury questioning with like, Caleb, Keddy, close your eyes. We're gonna go through the jury list one by one. Raise your hand if you think you have this person's jury vote going into this.
I would
Don't be
love that.
see.
What?
I don't want to see any non-hands raised for all of them because that just shows one a reflection of your game. I want to see people proud of their game, like blah, 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 and see like who you think you made the right relationships with to get to the.
100% would love that,
And then it'd be
actually.
Yeah.
like, and we can take
I
notes.
personally love asking that question. What other thing that I like doing? If you guys are down for it, I like going through and seeing which of the jury members they think they could beat. So like if
Ooh,
for instance, if Kenny raises
Love
his
it.
hand for my name, he would be like, okay, I think if I was in the final two with Laura, that I could beat her.
Laura, I'd
Should
vote
we
you.
start with that?
I
And
like that
end
question.
with
I
that.
love that kind of tea, personally.
Yeah.
Like we start with some mess, we get the real
So
grilling
see,
on,
like
and
Do we
then
need
we
like a
have
end.
reason why, or are we just looking for like yes or
To do
no?
whatever we
We
want
don't
to
need a
do.
reason why.
We
We
can do
just
what
need
we
them to raise
want.
their hand.
Well, I guess
It
I'm
shouldn't
messy
be.
and I like to know the
because if
reason.
they're because
Well, that's why
if their eyes are closed, they won't be able to influence each other, and then like we could
the whole point is so when
based
we get
on how.
our individual time to speak, we can see like so like if I get up there and then the question, oh, I hear myself. Sorry, I have no headphones. Who's mute? So, oh my God.
I think it's
Sorry.
Sheena. I'm not sure.
Sheena pops up every time when it happens. I don't
Sorry,
know.
Sheena. No, I just think like if we're like they're yes or no, they shouldn't take time, but like they shouldn't have to think. They should have like confidence. It shows one, they have confidence in their game, or it shows they have delusion in their game.
That's true, because by the time we're here, they should already know these answers.
They
Like
should
they
know
should have
everything
already
that they
thought
need to
about it. If
say.
they're the strategic players that they've been saying that they are, and
Okay.
they've been the delusion should have been there, and the paranoia should have been there to drive them already thinking and answering these questions.
So
So
We've been
here's my
going
real
on
question,
for
right?
almost
So
2 hours now, so I'm gonna end this recording. Y'all are welcome to hang out on the Zoom or whatnot, but we will formally end the jury roundtable as you guys just kind of discuss everything. FTS is going to be at FTS
It
is going
took
to
me
be
a
on
minute.
Saturday at 9 o'clock.
Saturday at